Okay, again, we log into the combination platform at portal.combination.com. In the last CSS tutorial, I've shown how to use static CSS content with the combination platform. Today, we go a step further and I show you how to use dynamic CSS content. And to do that, open up any draft you like. I opened the one that we finished up with in the last tutorial. And in here, you saw that we used CSS files, which are just static. And we also used inline CSS like here in this properties directly. To make dynamic CSS, we want the CSS to follow some user input or calculations that we have right here in the components. So what we do is we create a new component, and because it holds several values, we call it a record component. We skip that and give it a name, CSS variables, and for better readability, I just put it in here. You can put it wherever you want. So in here, you can create a table with different columns where each column has a CSS variable. I have something prepared. It's always this way that in the first brackets, you have the definition of the columns with a name and the column type. And then you have different lines that you can fill with values. And here you see the table, always the name with the type. And right in here, I have 2 rows. Over here, you see this is the whole table. And then I can select a key, and this results in just one line of the table. And I can switch back and forth between them. If I go over here and click the other branding, then branding number 2 is selected. So now we do have a nice table, but it doesn't do anything. So next we have to send it to the user interface so that there we can use it as variables. To do that, we go to the design and we create a sig flow. Works like this. Every time a signal appears, this is a change in the CSS variables component, value change. Then in this slot, the configurator, we want to update the CSS variables. And the parameters of the CSS variables are in this component. And it's important that we do not take the whole records, but just the value. This is the line that is selected. Done. And now the CSS variables are ready to use in the design. So I could go up here to the CSS files and change the constant values with the variables. So I type var, 2 dashes, and the name of the variable I used. Same thing here. I also can do it with the radius. And I also do it with all the others in a fast way. And now we can try how it works. So when I go here and I change the line of the table, then everything is switched back and forth. You see the colors, you also see the radius of the whole layer. Everything changes accordingly. Well, now you know how to do a configurator in different brandings by switching styles. Now probably you want to switch the right branding when you launch the configurator. And the best way to do that is to add a parameter to the URL that launches the configurator. To do this, we go into the CSS variables record component. Here's the record. And here's the selected key property. And right now, the first priority has a user input. When a user takes something into it, like branding 2 or whatever, then this is taken. And if not, none is taken. So in between them, I add a query that asks the configurator for an URL parameter. And we call the parameter branding. So as soon as there is a parameter called branding, it takes the value and uses this one. And this value then is used to find the right key and the right row for this table and returns it in value right here. Let's try it. So I open the preview and I change the URL. I add another parameter, branding. I already did it once, so branding, and the value branding2, and relaunch the configurator with this URL. And now you see that the other branding is used. So this is a neat way to switch between brandings if you, for instance, have a white label configurator.